Hi guys, today we are going to talk about rheumatoid arthritis. As you know, it is a chronic systemic inflammatory disease whose major manifestation is synovitis of multiple joints. It is characterized by symmetrical, deforming, and peripheral polyarthritis. Its prevalence is 1%. An increased incidence as well as severity of the disease is seen in smokers. Females are twice as much affected than males. Peak age of onset is 5th and 6th decade. It increases the risk of cardiovascular disease by 2 to 3-fold. Pathogenesis of this disease is not completely understood. However, genetic and environmental factors are thought to play important roles. There is 15% concordance in monozygotic as compared with 3% in dizygotic twins. Furthermore, there is increased frequency in first-degree relatives, therefore strongly suggesting genetic influence of the disease. HLA-DR4 and HLA-DR1 are suggested to be linked with the disease. An environmental stimulus like infection triggers autoimmunity in genetically susceptible individuals. However, no single infection is implicated. Cigarette smoking is associated with more severe disease and reduced responsiveness to treatment. Remission during pregnancy occurs, and sometimes disease presents for the first time in postpartum period. Synovial cell hyperplasia and endothelial cell activation are early pathologic events that progress to uncontrolled inflammation and consequent cartilage and bone destruction. Genetic factors and immune system abnormalities contribute to disease propagation. Immune cells playing major roles in pathophysiology of rheumatoid arthritis are CD4 T cells, mononuclear phagocytes, fibroblasts, osteoclasts, and neutrophils, whereas B cells produce autoantibodies including rheumatoid factors and anticyclic citrullinated peptide antibody, in short termed as ACPA. Abnormal production of numerous cytokines, chemokines, and other inflammatory mediators by immune cells has been demonstrated in patients with rheumatoid arthritis. These include tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukins 1, 6, and 8, transforming growth factor beta, fibroblast growth factor, platelet-derived growth factor. Inflammation and exuberant proliferation of synovium produce venous formation and leads to destruction of various tissues, including cartilage, bone, tendons, ligaments, and blood vessels. Although the articular structures are the primary site involved by rheumatoid arthritis, other tissues are also affected. Now coming on to the clinical features, typical presentation of rheumatoid arthritis is swollen, symmetrical, painful and stiff small joints of hands, wrists and feet. Worse in the morning. This can fluctuate and large joints may become involved. Less common presentations include sudden onset, widespread arthritis, early morning stiffness and pitting edema. This occurs more commonly in old age. Palindromic rheumatoid arthritis is a recurring mono or polyarthritis of various joints. Arthritis lasting hours or days, running to and fro course, visiting and revisiting 3 or more sites, typically involving knees, wrists, and metacarpophalangeal joints. It may presage rheumatoid arthritis, SLE, Whipple's disease, or Behçet's disease. Remissions are initially complete, leaving no radiological mark. Other presentations include persistent monoarthritis involving knee, shoulder, or hip. It can also present as systemic illness with extraarticular symptoms, for example, fatigue, fever, weight loss, pericarditis, and pleurisy. But initially few joint problems. This commonly present in males. Another presentation is polymyalgic onset, with proximal muscle stiffness mimicking polymyalgia rheumatica. Recurrent soft tissue problems, for example, frozen shoulder, carpal tunnel syndrome, recurrent tenosynovitis can be another presentation. Coming on to the signs of the disease, in the early period of the disease, you may be able to find swollen and tender affected joints and there is no joint damage. Typical joints involvement include metacarpophalangeal joint, proximal interphalangeal joint, wrist or metatarsophalangeal joints, often in a symmetrical distribution. Erythema is unusual and its presence suggests coexisting sepsis. Look for tenosynovitis or bursitis. Later on in the disease, you may be able to find joint damage and deformities which develop with uncontrolled long-standing disease. These have become less common in recent years with more aggressive management of the disease. Typical deformities include ulnar deviation and subluxation of the wrist and fingers, buttonniere and swan neck deformities of fingers or Z deformity of thumbs. You may also be able to find dorsal subluxation of ulna at distal radioulnar joint, and this contributes to the rupture of 4th and 5th extensor tendons. Foot changes are similar, large joints can be involved. Rarely, atlantoaxial joint subluxation may threaten the spinal cord. It should be suspected in any rheumatoid arthritis patient who describe new onset occipital headache, particularly if symptoms of paresthesia or electric shock are present in the arms. Such patients require urgent neurosurgical referral for joint stabilization and fixation. As noted earlier, rheumatoid arthritis is a systemic inflammatory disease, so you may be able to find extra-articular manifestations as well. This affects 40% of the RA patients and is more common in patients with long-standing disease, but may occasionally occur at presentation, especially in men. Nodules occur exclusively in rheumatoid factor or ACPA positive patients. Usual site is extensor tendons, frequently asymptomatic but can be complicated by ulceration and secondary infection. Vasculitis is uncommon and occur in seropositive patients, presenting with systemic features such as fever, fatigue, and nail fold infarcts. Rarely, cutaneous ulceration, skin necrosis, and mesenteric renal or coronary artery occlusion may occur. Lung involvement present with pleural disease, interstitial fibrosis, bronchiolitis obliterans, organizing pneumonia. Now coming to the cardiac involvement. Ischemic heart disease risk is increased in rheumatoid arthritis patients due to combination of NSAIDs use, glucocorticoids, and the effects of inflammatory cytokines on vascular endothelium, along with the conventional risk factors such as dyslipidemia, smoking, hypertension, and reduced physical activity. Rheumatoid arthritis can also cause conduction defects, cardiomyopathy, aortic regurgitation, pericarditis, and pericardial effusion. Neurological manifestations include cervical cord compression by atlantoaxial subluxation. This is rare and is a neurosurgical emergency. Other manifestations of neurological involvement include carpal tunnel syndrome from compression by hypertrophied synovium or by joint subluxation. You may also be able to find tarsal tunnel syndrome, peripheral neuropathy, and mononeuritis multiplex in patients with rheumatoid vasculitis. Splenomegaly is found in 5% of the patients, and only 1% of the patients have Felt syndrome, which is combination of rheumatoid arthritis with splenomegaly, neutropenia, and thrombocytopenia. Localized or generalized lymphadenopathy can occur in active disease, but persistent lymphadenopathy may indicate development of lymphoma. The patient can have anemia, which can be iron deficiency due to NSAID-induced GI blood losses, or it can be normocytic anemia with thrombocytosis in active disease. Commonest eye manifestation is keratoconjunctivitis sicca, which is due to secondary Sjogren syndrome. Other manifestations include episcleritis, scleritis, scleromalacia, or peripheral keratitis. Patients may also develop osteoporosis. Amyloidosis is a rare complication and present with nephrotic syndrome.